Good morning, everyone. John Hurst here, liberal Democrat, singer, writer, and actor, although it's been a while since I acted. Sharing a few thoughts today on the whole Biden controversy, and more specifically as it relates to social media. Now, I'm going to just state my caveats, for want of a better word, right up front. Yes, I am a Democrat. Yes, I am a liberal. Yes, I will probably support my party's nominee. But this piece is really not about whether or not Joe Biden is a great candidate or a terrible candidate or a good candidate or a candidate who's becoming senile or not senile. It's really not about any of those things. My thoughts today are more specifically on the concerns I have around social media and the tendency of social media outlets such as Facebook and Twitter and other such outlets to really try people through the court of public opinion. It strikes me that given the potential implications of the controversy around Senator Biden and the accusation that has been made by a former intern, I believe, that the implications of what might happen as a result of unsubstantiated rumors or badly reported stories or stories that are reported in a fashion that is incomplete or taken out of context could have huge ramifications for the nation. Now, look, I want to be really clear about something here. I am not taking a position on whether or not Ms. Reid's accusations are true or not true. I believe, and I've already said this to all my friends, that any individual, male or female, who comes forward with a serious accusation of sexual assault of any kind has the right to have those complaints investigated thoroughly and by the appropriate authorities. If Ms. Reid, who I think did file a police report, wishes to, again, demand an investigation by law enforcement or to launch a civil suit, that is her right, and I fully support it. But this piece, again, is really not about whether or not I think she's guilty or not guilty. She has the right to be heard, and she should have her day in court if that's what she wishes. What I am concerned about is the tendency of social media to try people through the court of public opinion. We are all entitled to the benefit of being seen as innocent until proven guilty. We don't live in a fascist state. Well, some might argue that we do, but I would still argue that we haven't quite gotten there yet. And in a democratic society, people are presumed innocent until proven guilty. This process is complicated often by social media, which, as I said, tends to offer news stories or opinions or posts of one kind or another that are often unsubstantiated, incomplete, or taken out of context. An example, I came across posting on Facebook about the Biden controversy, which was headlined "Explosive New Evidence." Well, yes, there was some corroboration, but the corroboration in question was mostly hearsay. Now, hearsay, for all you people out there who are like me, who are not legal scholars but have some understanding of the law, hearsay is when one person tells another person about something that was told to them. It's not admissible in court because hearsay is essentially based on what someone has been told about something that happened rather than having seen the event themselves. So the story in question, which was, I think, posted by a progressive, and I'm a progressive, so I'm not unsympathetic, inferred that the evidence was damning and compelling and incontrovertible. Well, the evidence in question was that Ms. Tara Reid's mother spoke to a radio person. She did not explicitly name the senator in question. She did not volunteer that information. So she essentially passed on that something had happened to her daughter and she didn't know what to do. Now, I feel for Ms. Reid's mother. If these accusations are true, it must have been an awful situation for her to have to figure out or to struggle with what to do in terms of supporting her daughter, while at the same time respecting her wishes around privacy. But all that said, that is still hearsay. And given the implications of a Trump victory, which would be devastating for our republic, I would urge all of my progressive and conservative friends, I do have a few, to be mindful and to challenge themselves to not post things on Facebook or to pass things on or to share things with the larger community until they have really done their due diligence, until you have taken the time to read the story yourself, see what sources they're quoting. Is it a credible source? Because the last thing I'm going to say about social media is, particularly Facebook and Twitter and some of the other domains, is that these are pretty much unregulated, for want of a better word, platforms that do not demand any accountability. Now, a lot of people are going to say that's not true. And what about mainstream media? They're not held accountable. Well, that's not actually true. Newspaper syndicates, syndicates of one kind or another, mainstream television media, particularly news outlets, and cable shows as well, can actually be sued for libel. It is a high standard to meet in terms of winning a case, but they can actually be sued for libel. What does this mean? Well, it means that for one thing, there is some incentive for them to hold themselves accountable. Now, yes, mainstream media doesn't always get it right, but for the most part, most mainstream media outlets do their best to get their facts right. And if they don't, or if they screw up, they issue a retraction. The New York Times has done it, the Washington Post has done it. I've even heard CBS and ABC correct their stories when it was appropriate to do so. They do so because they are aware that libel is an action that can be brought against them. Now, this is very different. Facebook is not legally accountable for anything that it posts, nor is Twitter. A lot of people don't know this, but when Google approached the federal government and asked for the right to use their internet platform and make it available to the general public, they were given legal immunity in terms of any libelous action that might be directed against them. So essentially, they were stripped of any responsibility for the accuracy or inaccuracies of any story they posted. So, Facebook has become the wild, wild west of journalism, with no accountability and leaving readers in a challenging position of really having to do their due diligence. So, let's not forget the famous pizza story. Not many years ago, but during the 2016 election, someone posted a story about Hillary Clinton, or the Clintons in general, running a prostitution ring out of a Washington, D.C. pizzeria. Well, because someone actually read that and thought it was factually true based on almost nothing, they actually went to the pizzeria, the police had to be called, and there was almost a very ugly incident. So let's be mindful, is all I'm saying. Now again, I am not suggesting that Miss Reed's allegations are false. I am not suggesting that they're true. I'm simply saying, given the ramifications of a second Trump presidency, or a second term, rather, let's please be mindful and responsible about what we share, what we post, and what we pass on to other people. Now, if Mr. Biden is indicted as a result of a criminal investigation that's reopened, or if he finds himself facing a civil suit that is based on solid evidence, I myself will probably not support the Democratic nominee. But all that said, until such time as that happens, he deserves to be treated like any other person in America's criminal system. He deserves the presumption of innocence until such time as an investigation is opened, a court determines that he's guilty of something, and a verdict is rendered. Until then, let's all be mindful and responsible about our use of social media, particularly in the context of the Biden controversy. Okay, those are my thoughts. They are just mine. I do not speak for any organization. I do not speak for any representative. I do not speak for the Biden campaign. I am a Democrat who is simply expressing my own views about the political implications of social media and why we so desperately need, I think, to avoid the phenomena of trying people through the court of public opinion, which is, in the case of Facebook and social media, an incredibly partisan public opinion. All right, stay well. My next posting will have me singing some pieces and news of other creative projects. Take care, give each other a virtual hug, and as they used to say on the wonderful television show Hill Street Blues, let's be safe out there.